And that's when it comes to, as well, different applications, like non-physical and physical, to different perspectives. Like, um, you can say that the atmosphere, like you could just say that the atmosphere um, is in form a temple in some sort of sense, because you can imagine it in that way. And if you can imagine that your body is a temple as well, there's an atmosphere that you can't necessarily pick out, and you can't tell that it's there. Just like there are cells and microlife inside of your body, which it being a temple as well, and then that atmosphere holding us here, us being the microlife inside of that. You can also derive this sort of thought process out of the saying that your body is a temple. And not only can you have physical stability and less dependence on external substances, you can physically put yourself in whatever space that is right for you. If needing to, you can also physically distance yourself from the substance being maintained against. Perhaps if you do get exposed or around the substance, do this technique that I have done, and I've talked about how previously, or not previously, but in past scenarios, I've walked through vape smoke. In a bathroom, I walked through vape smoke. I thought I breathed some in at one point. I had been in a smoke shop, not to buy any vapes, of course, or nicotine, but just to buy something else, related to something else. But anyway, moral of the story, that I had been around it, that I had been exposed to it, and I didn't worry about it because it's not a big deal. You'll do what I do, is just take a deep breath and then move to a location more suited for you. And in that location, it having with it what you want to surround yourself with. And this is important because previously I actually was working. I was doing some work outside, and there happened to have been a couple there just standing there and enjoying a cigarette, and I was walking back and forth through the section, kind of working in this area. It was outside, of course, and they had the right to be there, of course, but moral of the story is I was walking through freshly smoked cigarette air, and when I got to the thick of it, where I knew it would have been condensed the most, because that's where they had migrated in, that area, these two people, it was just take a deep breath and get to where you need to be, right? That's all. And it doesn't have to be any more difficult than that. Honestly, if you do end up getting a headache, it doesn't matter. You're not going to let that affect you. That's not really a relapse. Like, you're going to have to deal with the world out there regardless. So me walking through that person's cigarette smoke is not a big deal in any way whatsoever, because you have to know that physically your body is so much stronger than that. It's not going to react the same way as it would react if you were continuing to do the behaviors and those destructive behaviors. It's going to be able to be protected in this scenario, and I've experienced it firsthand, and I'm glad to say that it is this case, and it is so. Yeah, surround yourself with the right environment that you want to be in, that's suited for you. So that was physically. Let me take a quick break here. Alright, so we are on our fourth section, emotionally. You can maintain by not being emotionally dependent on nicotine to feel good. Rather than cope emotionally with nicotine use and abuse, try to derive emotional fulfillment out of holistic experiences that don't render and subdue you to addiction. The constant use of and addiction just to make you feel good will be there. It will be there until you decide to change your behavior, until you decide to make that change for yourself. Also emotionally maintained by making sure that you're emotionally stable, and that if you do know that you're going through a tough time, like you may when you experience quitting a substance, like in this case nicotine, know that it's alright for you to feel the way that you feel, and to allow yourself to feel however you comfortably want to feel. And it doesn't have to go any further than that. You can feel however you want to feel, as long as you don't allow it to negatively affect you physically, as long as you don't allow it to negatively affect you mentally, as long as it doesn't as long as you don't allow it to affect you spiritually, right? And that it's not emotionally damaging you, right? That is our healthy emotions, right? That's just ways that you can protect yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. Shout out to everyone who is really taking care of themselves to their best ability. Everyone that is just out there doing right in this world, regardless of how it looks, regardless of the scenarios that it seems to be that we're all experiencing together. We are strong enough as a collective to overcome anything that comes into this reality. And we've done it. We've proved that for long to come, and long previously. Anyone out there struggling with addiction today, you know that there is. You have that knowing. You have that inner knowing mentally, that inner physical knowing, that inner mental knowing, the inner spiritual knowing, and the inner emotional knowing that there is a brighter side on the other side of addiction. And that's something that even when you're in addiction, you're like, oh, I don't want to go back to my old ways, but I bet it will be good. You'll have thoughts like that, or feelings like, man, I remember how I used to feel. I used to have such good times, and it'll just make you reflect on what you were before, and how the addiction does what it does to you, how it did what it did to you, and how you can now maintain the space that you are in, the healthy space that you are in, and how you can protect these spaces that you are in. And that's just something to be aware. If you're out there, like I was saying, struggling during these times, you have the strength, right? No matter what it is, you got this, right? Make sure that you are taking care of yourself, right? It's up to you. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for watching. I'd love it, guys, if you would like the video, subscribe, that would be great. This was the 7-month, 16-day check-in. Peace.